Today I happen to have a couple of an EXP 3.0 and an EXP 4.0 Rekluse and it's sitting in front of me, and I thought it'd be a good time to do a little walkthrough of what the differences are between the two. You guys that know me know that I am a fan of Rekluse clutches. I put one on my 450 when my hand wasn't strong enough to pull the clutch lever consistently during racing. I've used them way back in the day in previous designs and wasn't real happy with them back then, but these guys their product keeps getting better and better. Let's talk today about what the difference is again between a 3.0 EXP and a 4.0. So we'll start with the 3.0. This is the design that's been in utilization here for the last at least 5 years. This portion that we're looking at here is called the EXP ring. An EXP ring is a portion of the friction disc that goes inside your clutch. This is where the magic is inside of a Rekluse. The way this works is this EXP disc actually expands, goes like this, and gets opened up. When it opens up, the friction discs engage inside your clutch pack, and that's what drives you forward. The way that it opens up, you can see these weights are falling out here. This is, actually I don't know what that's made of. It's not as heavy as lead, but anyways, it's a metal weight with Teflon pads. These little white bits here are bits of Teflon. If we look real close, you can see that that's just Teflon sitting inside there. And these are replaceable. If you read the instructions on these EXP discs, these are supposed to be inspected every 50 hours. In my experience, they wear out somewhere between 100 and 150 hours if you're set up correctly and you're using them reasonably. I've seen them wear out a whole lot faster than that when they're used in like a snow bike application, or if they're set up incorrectly like this one was here. This EXP disc has only been installed for 10 hours and already showing significant signs of wear. The wear that occurs is these Teflon pads slide on this zone right here. It's called a ramp. It is a ramp. And so if I come real in close, you can see that the ramp is wide on the outside of the disc. It's narrow on the inside of the disc. When this weight is in place and the motor is spinning slowly, all of these weights in the EXP disc fall to the inside under spring tension. I'll talk about that in just a minute. As you accelerate, and the centrifugal force of this spinning will cause this weight to pull to the outside. When it goes to the outside, it also goes up the ramp. As it goes up the ramp, it causes the two sides of the plate to expand. That expansion is what engages all the friction discs inside your clutch. So that's the short story on how these work. How they wear out is the Teflon riding up and down on this machined surface where my finger is here. Going up and down on that surface causes the Teflon to wear out. Once you've worn through the Teflon, then the metal around the Teflon wears into the machined surface on this ramp and causes it to wear out. The goal of maintenance on these EXP discs is to catch them before the Teflon has worn out and before the metal of the weight engages with the machined surface on the ramp. Like I said, this clutch has only been installed for 10 hours and it's already gone past that point of wear. The reason for that, the mechanic that installed this put in the wrong disc or the wrong springs. These springs come in various colors and various weights. The weight of that spring is what mandates the RPM range at which these weights are able to move outwards. You use stiff springs, the clutch engages at high RPM. You use softer springs, it engages at lower RPM. These stiff springs and the speed at which this rider was typically riding didn't work well together. These were moving up and down all the time and doing it too often rather than being fully engaged, and that led to this clutch wearing out in 10 hours. So what we're going to do today is we're going to shift over to the 4.0 EXP. What Rekluse did here is rather than using Teflon pads for these weights to slide, they shifted to ball bearings and roller bearings. So this weight will move the same way, up and down a ramp, but instead of, like I said, the Teflon, you've got essentially a roller bearing, like you'd see in any standard roller bearing, and a ball similar to a ball bearing. These are on both sides of the weight, and they operate up and down on ramps here inside of this EXP. But because this is metal on metal versus Teflon on metal, these won't wear out the same way that the Teflon will. I'm expecting these to have a much longer service life, but they still operate the same. They've got springs, and this spring tension holds the disc together, and the weight of this is going to pull out and push against these springs, and that will set the RPM at which the clutch fully engages. The way I set these up at Local Garage, and the way that I like to ride my Rekluse clutches, is to have them engage right off idle. When my bike comes all the way down to, depending on the model of the motor, maybe it's 2200 RPM, maybe it's 1800 RPM, but when it comes down to that RPM range, I want this to fully disengage, and then when it moves up a couple hundred RPM, I want this to fully engage. I want my Rekluse clutch to operate like a manual clutch 99% of the time, and the only time that it would disengage is when my motor's all the way back down to idle. That gives me compression braking, that gives me smooth clutch lever feel when I want to utilize the clutch. And yeah, that's how I set them up. That's how they last a long time for me, and that's what my customers have been happy with. So Rekluse does make a 4.0 EXP that you can just swap into your old clutch if you'd like that. We can do that here at Local Garage. The new products that they're selling now are going to all be 4.0s, and they said they're going to discontinue the 3.0 parts and process. So going forward, this is what you're looking at. I do have a good deal with Rekluse where I can get you guys parts and get you upgraded or get you a full Rekluse clutch. Feel free to give me a call or hit me up on Facebook if you want to discuss that. Time to install these is a couple hours, so it's not too bad in terms of the price here in the shop, but the price of the Rekluse itself isn't cheap. For me, someone that's got older hands and older muscles and older joints, these really help me out when I'm out riding, especially if you're doing stuff that requires a lot of clutching. And you set them up wrong, they can cause your motor to overheat, but you set them up right, they'll last a long time. They make your life a little bit easier. Yes, it's cheating a little bit, but for some of us, it's more important for me to be able to still ride than to worry about who's cheating and not cheating. That's my take. Anyways, if you got any questions, hit me up over here at Local Garage on Facebook, and we can talk about it. Take care.